Welcome to Paralegal Counseling Training. I am your host, Dr. Tulipo Mwenifumbo, and I want us to look at this now, the course entitled Constitutional Law. What is a constitution? There are many definitions about what the constitution is all about, but the scholars, they have defined constitution as the basic principles of the state. So they are the principles of the state, the structures, the processes, and the fundamental rights of the citizens. So now there are things that I want us to point out. Number one, there are principles of the state. Number two, there are structures of the state. Number three, there are processes of governance of the state. And number four, the fundamental rights of the citizens in that particular state. It further says it's the legislative that cannot be changed by an ordinary registrator or legislative act. So the Constitution is the higher law. It is the supreme law of a given state or a given country. So the content and the nature of the Constitution should be related by the above definition or above principles that we have looked at, like the principles of the state, the structures, the process, the governance, and the fundamentals of human rights. Now, all the laws and the governance of the state are given legal direction by the Constitution. So the Constitution is the one that gives the mandate to legal processes, it gives the mandate to the political order, and also it gives the mandate to how the state must be operated and the structures of the state. There are some characteristics that we should be able to find when we look at the definition of the Constitution. So the simple definition of the Constitution is a set of fundamental legal, political, and governance and structures of the country. So the fundamentals and legal political laws that are binding on everyone in the state. So the Constitution gives the political law that are binding on everyone in the state, including ordinary lawmaker institutions. The Constitution also is concerned the structure and operation of the institutions of the government, political principles, and the rights of citizens. They are also based on widespread public legitimacy, the laws and also the positions that are given in the public office. What are the legal binding of those offices? So the Constitution, it's a registration, or it's a law that is not easily or that cannot be changed by ordinary people. It has to call for referendum or what is called constitutional review, which should be agreed upon by the people of that particular state. The other thing about the state constitution is that it has to meet, there is a standard, there is a democratic standard that has been set by internationally. So that has to be considered if the country has to cooperate with other countries, and there are some things that have been agreed upon, let's say by the United Nations, and you cannot make your constitution against the principles that has been set by the by these international organizations that governs or that helps to unite the nations. Now, what is contained in the Constitution? When we look at the Constitution, we want to look at what is it, what does it enshrine? What are the contents in this Constitution? So the Constitution can declare and define certain issues. So there are seven things that I want us to look at which the Constitution declares. Number one, the Constitution declares and defines the boundaries of the political communities. It defines where the boundaries are. It may also declare and define the nature and authority of the political community. Which kind of people, like the tribes, it should affirm something about the tribe. It should affirm something about the territory. Then the Constitution should also identify the values of the nation. So when we talk about the values, we talk about the national anthem. We talk about the motto, like one Zambia, one nation. We talk about Zambia is a Christian nation, and all those things. The Constitution should contain the values of the nation, and the Constitution should also contain the rights and the duties of the citizen. So it should define the rights and the duties of the citizen. Also, the Constitution must be able to establish the establishment and regulation of political and legal institution. So it has to give there is what we call political offices and also the constitutional offices. So the Constitution must be able to give the definition to those offices, and the Constitution also must be able to regulate them. The Constitution must be able, sometimes it has to to give an affirmation on the official religious identity of the state and democratic relationships between the sacred and the secular authorities. So it should give the definition on the religious perspective. And also, lastly, the Constitution should also give the direction on the socio-economical development of the nation. So let's look at the Constitution as having the three phases of the Constitution. So the Constitution has got three things that it looks at, and it has the declaration on these three things. Number one, the Constitution is the legal, as a legal instrument. So the Constitution affirms and gives the guideline on the legal matters. And any law that is established in a given country must carry or must agree with the Constitution. If it contradicts the Constitution, then that law is declared null and void. The other thing that the Constitution, the other phase of the Constitution is the Constitution as social declarations. So when we say the Constitution as a social declaration, we mean that the Constitution declares things like the rights and the fundamental rights of the citizen, how the powers of the citizen, the duties of the citizens, how the interaction, the ethnics that are in the country, and the religious and all that. So that is a constitution makes the social declarations. Then also the constitution as a political instrument. When you say the constitution as a political instrument, it gives the political offices, for example, it gives the three arms of the government, the executive, the legislature, and also or the legislator and the 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 three arms of government, the executive, the judicial, and the legislator. So it gives those powers. So the constitution gives the political powers, and it gives how the country should govern and who should be the person above the matters of the country. So that those are the things that the constitution declares. Thank you so much for being with me in this lesson. I want to believe that you have learned the introduction to constitutional law, and you have you are joining me in the next class. Please, may you just subscribe to my YouTube and also like the video, and also encourage you to comment where you feel you should comment. Thank you so much, and God bless you.